Hello, hello, hello. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, anywhere we're in the world. This is Mohammed Shilon coming to you from the United States of America. I am on today with my co-host, Mr. Victor Mengot from Surrey, England. And this broadcasting is coming to you from Canada. So we hope una go participate with as much vigor as una can muster for some of the issues that we'll get for discuss today. Today is Sunday, February 15, 2026. So let me go straight to the sources then for which we una want call in because una know say one of familiar with the show. This is now an interactive live show where you can call anywhere you're in the world. Once you tune in, you go able to say you will participate if you want, either by sending in written commentaries or comments, and then you can participate by calling in. So let me start first with the number we call. Now, one number now we get instead of the multiple numbers that will be used before. Now the WhatsApp number. So with the WhatsApp, the number now 1-343-997-5828. 1-343-997-5828. That's the WhatsApp number. You can call anywhere in the world. That way you want for call, for participate. Then in the discussions we will get on the program today. We also, if you're in the Western area in Freetown, or even if you're abroad, but if you can download the Google app, go at the Google Play Store and download the app, the VOS app, or you go to the Apple App Store, download the VOS app. Even if you are here, Canada, England, anywhere, if you download the app, then you can go to 91.9 FM. Then you could be able to get to the radio station, 91.9 FM. You can download the app then or you can go to their sources there and download that app there, the VOS app, mobile app, and then you could be able to get to in a 91.9 FM radio station, which is in Freetown. Also, we are carried live on YouTube, Facebook, X, when I be former Twitter, and the carry now then forum then there. In addition to that, like I say, the radio and the carry they also. Then we'll get Twitch, where you go if you go on a Twitch, VOS television, and the carry on there too. Now for going to YouTube, all you get for doing for going to the VOS television.com, you will get we. Last but not least, we'll get what you call the Diaspora Helping Hand non-profit organization, where would they run or as sponsor for scholarship for them for getting scholarship and teach them where they go high school mostly for them for get a scholarship for be able for go as far as they want for go or go able for go na school. Some of them get the ability, but they don't get they get the mental capacity, but they don't get the ability for proceed because the parents they don't get the financial wherewithal for be able for keep them going. So we want speaking we get the potential, the mental ability for go. We want them picking and they for be able for continue, not for drop out just because the parents don't get money. So that's what we get as the reason and for make we get the scholarship fund, the VOS Diaspora Helping Hand non-profit fund, where they help we for sponsor them picking in there. So no amount is too small, no amount is too much. Please, we encourage you now for send them, go or you can reach we na VOSdiaspora.org. vosdiaspora.org. Please, okay? And so today program, we'll deal with the trending issue. We're right now about the Constitution of Sierra Leone. The Constitution is the major topic now. We're going to try for modify them or amend them or make some changes in them. So there are some parliamentary processes and procedures that we have to go through, but now we try for discuss and for alert the public, for pay attention, because they affect everybody. SLPP, APC, and small parties, C4C, you name it, it will affect everybody if we not pay attention and try for make we own that a voice. And so for those of you who want to pay attention to that, with the discuss, we're going to trend an issue. We not just want to let the government just kind of pass them. As I always say, constitution, now a country's constitution, now mostly for tie the government down to governmental responsibilities in terms of governance. Then they set barrier or perimeter beyond which the government cannot go. Now for restrict the government, for protect people in lives, people in property, and for protect them some fundamental human rights, such as freedom of speech, freedom of association, freedom of access, access to justice, and all those things. So the Constitution is mostly now guide, both a guide and a warning to the government. Any government, not just necessarily this particular government, let me understand that. The Constitution is not so much about the people as much as it is how for dictate to government how for control and behave themselves. Because the power where government get is so large, is so big, that without the Constitution, government can do anything. And since government, not to just governments in the name, governments are people. Now people and they make government. So not just rules we for abide by, we government for abide by, for make sure so they don't abuse them power. Because the power we government get is huge, enormous. Nobody can able to stop them unless we all agree, including government itself, for abide by the rules the whole world they agree on. And sometimes in we own system, we mix up the government, the role with the role of everybody else. The people of the country. So with the try our best for let we just try to say, this is what's in the proposal, and this is the way then rules then how them go govern, how they go treat we the people. Because once we get enough power then, we not get the ability for take out from them that back that easily. So it's important that we now all listen, and this is not going to do with party politics, because it will affect you just the same. If you say, for example, freedom of expression, the party in power, for example, say, well, go take away from that. You're not free for talk, which you want for talk. Well, I will apply also to members within that party day. Because forever, as long as that party is in the power, they're not going able and they're not going to get the right forever say anything negative about that party day when they're a member of. Because they don't give that party, they don't give the right to the party say, even if we self-criticize, you punish we. And criticism not necessarily mean you to do anything bad. And like you and your wife, you and your husband, you and your relatives, you and your siblings, when I can disagree. But just imagine if you say, well, I'll write the rules right now. If then one of we forbid the head man. But anytime I disagree with headman gets the right for banish me, for drive me. I not for tell her how I feel, I not for tell headman, I not like what you do. So now that power they would try not for give government. They do not take that freedom there from we. But some people don't understand that. Some people are looking from the lens of a party politics. You know, when somebody says something negative, not even insulting, even an insult is a constitutionally protected right. But if you say anything negative, it appears that the government feels it and get a right through the police. For that's all you and say, what to make you say something negative about the government? So we have to be careful. If we not vote, we not put your attention on this, we get an upper day, no complain. If you cough in a public, then say, well, the president not be like that. You know, if you sneeze, then so you sneeze 2-3 times with the president they talk. Because now is when we get the right for protect, we say, from all that arbitrary or what we call baby power. You know, because now much a man would give that power there, not to angel, not to God. Any much a man you give that power there, even me with the talk. So if I get all that power there, I go misuse them, even if I try. The only thing that will stop me, not the law, the Constitution. Okay, so let me turn it over to Mr. Amengot. But before I even do that, make me just also, and of course I don't mention that, but so this bill, where then they try for propose, when I for change the Constitution, we want everybody pay attention to them, because we call Constitutional Amendment Bill, Constitutional Amendment Bill 2025. So I will turn it over to Mr. Mengot. We will go from there. We get video we will play, and we get other examples that we will give. And we strongly encourage our listeners then for please call in, write in, participate, because it's a very important thing. Everybody, party, beyond party lines, it will affect you, and it will affect you dearly if you know try to pay attention. So to you, Mr. Mengot.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Shillon. Fambulem in Akushe and whatever Eusa in a day. One thing we want to do, because last week we've been get somebody we been not be part of constitutional review process na tongue. When a lawyer and politician, when I been lawyer Sulaiman Baja Tijansi, when a senior man, he come, we interview him, he give opinion, some of which we agree, some of which we clarify the issue. In them program here, we need people them, the master sabi people them, people that with political interest them, for can join me. We still open our invitation to people them from civil society, professional lawyers, association like Bar Association, like the Lawyer Society, and also people that they represent public interest. Now, we want to do it systematically because boku talk then on the Constitution will go back. Today I want approach. I want let people understand why constitutional review and some of the things them where the people that have been draft the Constitution be envisaged, not saying they happen now. Because this Constitution has been said, it came in 1991, where we moved from one-party state to multi-party state. And that time it was being prepared for election in 1992. But unfortunately, we been get the civil insurrection will lead to the civil war, will last for over 10 years. So, for law come law get peace, we been go Lome. Now there we been get the Lome Peace Accord. And one of the recommendations where the Lome Peace Accord be make, one, we for review with Constitution. And two, we for set up a Truth and Reconciliation Commission, TRC, for examine what be happened during the war, why it happened, and how we will make sure say it not happen again. So fundamentally, now then two reason and they make we start this process. We will lead to the first review done by Peter Tucker. And now may complain. When they do that review, we get what you can call a white paper. Because anytime they do review, it go to the president. At that time, Natijan Kaba. The president and the cabinet, then they look them, then get a white paper where they go parliament. And that white paper, then they determine how for do the review. But unfortunately, we not been get that term, then that time we'll get 2007 election where President Nkrumah can power. When himself say he go continue the process. But for understand this, when we be set the constitutional review, and I think say it's not different from now, there are 3 guiding principles. So if we dey go and contribute, and waiting and not tell we, the first guiding principle, this constitutional review process for be participatory. What do they mean by participatory? Now big word. It means say everybody for take part. And it for be inclusive. So before we get this bill, let's ask ourselves. Now all man be know what mean they happen before we get this bill. Almost people that take part. The Minister of Justice, Attorney General, tell we say, they don't consult. They don't go wide. But who they understand? We majority of we people are illiterate. And the MP themselves, some of the MP themselves get problem for understand what's in the happen. Because if you look at this new parliament, almost 30% of them are new members of parliament. And then come, not because the people they want them for voting and to their constituency, they come under this party list system. When the party put them there, not to you put them there. Not to me and you put them there. Although we go vote. We vote for party, we not vote for individuals. Then a serious challenge. So now then they tell we say, no contact with MPs then. So that's the first one. The next one, they talk about the second principle now for promote unity and cohesion. Now again, this constitutional review, we don't get a third part to it. That third part today, a document where they call the Tripartite Report. And we know why that Tripartite Report has been come. Now because the two sides have not been get for C, yai to yai, with the 2023 election. Some man say 9 win, some man say not to their win, some people they say nobody no win. But all left handy, we don't get a government, they don't make recommendation. And some of the things they're waiting at this bill, now from their recommendation, they will go look at them. Then the third, we're very important, we for look at this constitution, say enough of be a political document. What do I mean by political document? We not for just look and say a document, we for give advantage to whichever political party they in power. Because now that don't happen. With president, with supreme authority, there's a lot of interpretation and misinterpretation of clauses in the constitution. Things for deal with census, who's stand for all census, how for use the census figure. So all them things and they, nine of the challenge we'll get. So now the background that, but we don't go before. Now one taking a go before, and let people let know say, despite their mistake and their misgivings, because one of the key things when we talk about consultation, what does consultation mean? Right? Consultation mean or participation, right? The man where they're gonna inform, it will affect them because in they go vote for somebody we go make sure say in life better. But again for know how in votes will be protected. And now what he want collectively the people them now ain't go happen. So that makes so again the other two are going to let family know when we been draft this constitution and approve am, they no be envisage say we go reach a situation where they go amend am half. Nothing else say you no can amend constitution half. But you want to do on certain sections of the constitution where you get for doing to either constitutional statutory instruments, but you get certain things then at the constitution where you cannot do them without the full participation of the people, just like how they do it originally. Because when they make this constitution, people take 4 days they vote for say they agree. When I will call referendum. So a lot of things and they where people then go ask say, why the rush now? We get some people that will say, if not the tripartite want deal with, let we look at things them we bring the tripartite. Then because of the electoral process, the thing that will not happen. And we get 2 acts then, the Political Party Regulation Act and the Public Elections Act. Where they act and they pass them before the last 2023 elections. They get good thing, they get bad thing. But now we don't look at all anything and they, and it's still work in progress. So family learn at the background that. But before we go, let me explain. I don't know if Mr. Shillong get anything for say from this background. Then I want to go quick to recently, I think I trend the topic. We get the Ministry of Information and Civic Education being called the man of parliament, the most important man, where most people they don't know about. Now somebody called Mary Conte, when I am the chairman of the legislative committee, we can tell we how parliament will handle this whole process, because everything in a parliament hand. So before I explain that to people them, I don't know if Mr. Shillong get anything for say on this introductory, then I go explain the process, then we will now take the constitutional amendment and look at the changes the way they bring in a kind side and talk about how it will affect you now, bit by bit. Over to you, sir.
I don't get anything else for add to it, Mr. Mengot. As we go along, I would just like to point out the reason why I think we frame as them of the Constitution or the one that we move, forget all them amendments here, why it is important that they really need to go cautiously, meaning safu, and why it is necessary. Because since independence, we will not talk too long ago for the life of a constitution. From 1961 till now, we don't get 4 constitutions, which I find to be somewhat ridiculous. We don't get the 1961, 1971, 1978, 1991. So let's get it right this time. Let's try for bring everything under, because let's left this selfish way of looking at things. Let's just do what's good for the country. Let all bear in mind, say, no matter how we want one party forget independence over the other party, advantage over the other party, I can assure you, you will wish them, everybody where they go die. The people that were put together the 1961 Constitution, I doubt if there is anybody living now. The one that they put in 1971, I doubt if there is anyone living now. The one they even put in 1978 to 1991 people there, I doubt if anybody there alive. So let us learn from them here. Draw a document that can withstand the test of time. This is foolishness. Who does it pass what we call constitution just for serve we were there alive? We will not care for unborn generations. That is so selfish and short-sighted. That's the only comment I have to make about this constitutional proposal. That's all, sir.
Okay.
Back to you.
For taking from what you say, now 2 things come out there. Where you talk about, we get 2 important posts in them. where they talk about constitution. We get Dr. Peter Tucker, we been there na part of the 1991 constitution, where also Ahmed Tijan Kaba been give opportunity for review the constitution. He is no more, but we still they refer to him. The same way, one of the things that they talk about in this constitutional review, the term we don't get the best review so far, now under Justice Cowan, Edward Cowan. We don't have been an escuma in on term. And Edward Cowan himself don't die. Now, I they use a transport analogy, becoming a transport man. And they wear two hats now. If we remember, when we change from left-hand traffic to right-hand traffic, we get one song where we say, now for go saful. Because if we not go saful, accident go be, it will cause beaucoup damage. So that same analogy there, no one use with this constitution. So we forgo saful, dear, small. Now no rush them because of political interest. Because the political interest, they come from one side. Because the Tripartite report, where they use for draft, some of them, they clause there in the constitution. Now the two main parties, they sign them. Now they make the recommendation, 80 recommendation. Out of the 80, over 60 of them. Now for deal with election. We got a pressing issue, but now this bill, now social election they talk about. So now look at the roadmap. Because we're waiting at the country here, we they use technology. If you want to come up from point A to point B, you go use your Google map. It will show you if you want to travel by public transport, you want to travel by car, it will show you the road. It will tell you the traffic then. It will tell you who say you get for change. Now the same to this constitution. So they don't tell me, I want to explain this process to people, let them know. Because government say, and parliament say, therefore come, contribute. Because that consultation they own, Mr. Shilon don't argue, but could and other people they just say, waiting at the consultation. How they define consultation? Almost people they don't consult or we don't know about waiting government plan. Because this is not the Attorney General, we're too hard. And the same constitutional review where we been get before this, where President Biokanapa, he said, this man here will bring this thing before we. Number one, now part of the judiciary as Attorney General, when are the principal legal advisor to government. Number two, is also Minister of Justice, where they are the executive. So the question is he the right person to bring this bill, to oversee the review of this bill? And they not tell you who then are the people that will be there with her where they review this bill. This is not a question we get for ask. Then get for tell we. Because not anyone just sit down, write everything. Even the people, the man self were dangerously educated. You know, go sit down one right thing for the whole country. So let's start with waiting the chairman of the committee say. Number one, then talk about national consultation. That national consultation, the AG say, the Attorney General say, it don't go round. They don't get district town hall meeting. And one of the district town hall meeting when a critical issue. Now for say, Uska election system we want? We want first past the post or one proportional representation. Then they said in at the bill. But we'll come to that. So after that, we don't draft the bill. The law say, we the amend constitution, you get for gazette them. That's another issue. Waiting at the gazette. Almost people they know waiting at gazette. Let me explain to people them. This gazette thing, nothing will adopt from the British government. And why they take me time for explain this thing? Because me don't work na both local government na Britain and also the Parliament of Britain. What I know about them here. how they deal with law them, how they review law them, and how members of parliament then they oversee the government and hold them to account. So he say, you gazette once, then you wait 9 days, they gazette and twice. That they don't do. But the gazette, na documents when a government documents, na like government notice board. We get other things them. When a government printers, na in the do them, then they put on a government bookshop. I don't know how most people in themselves we know side government bookshop day. Okay, we don't pass down it. But because of the nature of the bill, they say we get what we call pre-legislative committee. What's in a pre-legislative committee meeting? When the bill go parliament, they say, okay, let all man come. The members of parliament, people that get interest in the thing, then lawyers them, professional bodies them, then they can discuss. Then discuss them. But for me, the official system and process within the Constitution, Section 108, it starts with the first reading, where they not already do. Waiting at the first reading, waiting at the purpose. The first reading are like, when you born picky, you want pull na do am. So that first reading, they now the bill then go pull na do, then say this bill na so a name. Although one side they will miss still the challenge, where they say a bill, but then talk saying for amend or a bill where they consider the Constitutional Amendment Act 2025 as stand challenged, and for me it's stressed, an act na something where a law which has been approved. So there's no way they for call them an act, but then at their own system. Because once you don't say an act now exists in law. A bill na a proposed law. So from the beginning, they don't confuse people. So they don't get the first reading. That first reading then at the pool na do. Where the Attorney General and Minister of Justice don't go before the well of Parliament, where all the members then they tell them what the bill is about, the reason why they bring this bill. Where one, now for amend the Constitution, where they take into consideration the Justice Cowan Report, then they take into consideration the Tripartite Agreement, then they look at other acts them where related, when are the Public Elections Act 2022 and the Political Party Registration Act. So these are the background document. But when they do the first reading, by procedure, Parliament for tell we who stand and they do the second reading. That second reading day, now that's when the bill they come before Parliament, where all the members of Parliament they debate them. But 30 days they not set date yet for the second reading. So that makes so some of we they spend time for explain to now. When they bring the bill at that second reading day, if they want to do justice, the members of Parliament then get for deal with the bill then, because the bill gets about 21 clauses. So they get for deal with them clause and they one by one. And the law say they get for votes, and we forget 2/3 majority. Then at the thing that we'll get for look at 2/3 majority, which means 2/3 majority of the members of Parliament. We get forget and clear, not 2/3 of who are present. They say members of Parliament. Although they were still an active member of Parliament. Whether or not you dey Parliament or you not there, but now that 2/3 majority there. If they don't get 2/3 majority in the second reading, then the bill get for be withdrawn and will not go proceed further. But if they get the 2/3 majority, now that time it go to the committee stage. The committee is headed by this man who I mentioned, this parliamentarian where they represent SLPP in Western Urban, Mara, when I in the chairman, and that committee there, according to parliamentary rules, gets 16 members there. And then 16 members then they come from the two main parties then, SLPP, APC, plus the paramount chief then. And I remember say, we get 14 paramount chiefs in our parliament. We represent the 14 districts then. The Northwest, the North, the East, and the South. Western region, no get paramount chief. Now mayor will get. So now then, out of that, waiting the law say, the number of people in another committee there, if I reflect the number of seats where the party then get. So for now, the current parliament, SLPP get 81, APC get 54, then you get 14 paramount chiefs, so now 149 people there. So proportionally, it means we get more SLPP members than now the committee than APC. So how the committee for work according to the practice what they use when at the Westminster system and the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association. All them paper, them position paper where they asking now. They ask we all for send go parliament. Now through the committee they go. And the committee get for look at each and every one. They not for left none. And for the basis of transparency, they get for get a list of all the position paper. Not only that, practice, parliamentary practice means them position paper they therefore be an annex to the main report. So apart from that, the committees also get power for call people them. So in them party, what do they call the paper they win at they call, when they send now, we call a written evidence, because now evidence for say we will participate. You can participate as an individual, you can participate as a group, you can participate as a professional society. So all them documents and they should be documented. And the committee therefore call some of them people and they will don't send their position paper there. For go for oral evidence. When the MP they call them for let them can clarify, because sometimes what is some man can write and what he mean can different. So now so they do another party. So you get oral evidence, you get written evidence. When you don't compile down there, then the committee will produce a report. And the report go get recommendation. And when they pass that report there, they therefore also include any dissenting views. Because any two in that report, they get for refer to either oral evidence or written evidence. There should be no makeup. So now so we they telling us say in a watch. So that report then now they go back in the parliament for let them go debate the committee report. If that they don't done, then they go send and go back if they make any amendment, and before they come to the third reading. The third reading now at the final where all team them where they don't consider all waiting that don't say the committee don't say their own, you know. Then put and say, well, this now we don't agree. Then again you get forget 2/3 majority. Anything where people they not agree with, like they entrenched clause them. What do I mean by entrenched clause them? Then clause them where you cannot change them without a referendum. We get two we link. One, now the duration of parliament. Because this new bill launch up will say parliament for extend till the eve of election. We done the time of parliament, the length of parliament and entrenched clause. So that is a serious one. The other one, now the date of election. Because if they don't put date November, and the current bill say parliament not for last more than 5 years from the time when I start go, any extension of the time of parliament has to go to the people. So then 2 entrenched clause and then the one and day, now in the serious area of the bill. So I hope say I explain this process and now go over to Mr. Shillon. If you get any question, then we can deal with the bill now. Ask for let people know waiting, then put there, and then we'll go analyze them. And I still feel free for call, challenge what I don't say, or add your own lily pepper and salt to waiting with the chalkboard. Over to you, Mr. Shillon.
All right, Mr. Mengo, thank you again. I'm strongly encouraging people who will listen to please call in and participate. The lines are open. So there, when I call, because this is a serious matter, maybe one of the most serious matters we've ever dealt with in terms of the significance or the impact we could get on the country and the people. And so Mr. Mengo tell we about the procedures. And there are certain things, these are just me on side comments, where sometimes I think we need for, if we want to move away, I mean, not support level, just move away from custom and practice just for the sake of moving away. But when it becomes necessary and useful for move away from certain words, certain phrases, certain practices, in with governmental structure, even with educational structure, I think we must, for make it simple for we people. So like Mr. Mengo talk about procedures and then add them for Gazette, now I think the Gazette, then we need to understand what the Gazette, and Mr. Mengo can correct me if I'm wrong. I think first we get the Gazette now a publication, what government they put up. Now government and stuff or the means for notify people them when they don't agree how for inform the public about certain issues of government. But now nowadays, I'm still wondering if it carry as much meaning as it used to way back then, because Gazette now be just a publication, now be government publication. So from then on, so many changes have taken place over the years. There have been so many advancements in human technology. Without from the time when they come up with the word Gazette, then they'll get what we could call radio. Then from radio, they get television. From television, we'd all get internet. We'd all get telephone, where it lead to texting. So I still wonder if the word Gazette can be augmented, if not supplemented, or by additional words like what the detainer was just, or simple word like publication. Just say publication should be published on the radio, TV, internet, but we still get lost in the Gazette. So I'm just simply saying the growth of humanity, not only in terms of technology, that I think vocabulary also need to be changed for fit the circumstances of the moment. So that's just a way of suggesting. Because I think some of the problem now in Australia, they are fundamental. They are just basic problem. We refuse for go away, even the way with the draft were official letters them. It pleases the president. Those are all phraseologies they now, where they're not modern at all. But we know we don't want to go away from this old, antiquated, arcane languages the way the Englishman give it, and much to their credit, they did very well for us. Now we just stubborn no more, where we now want to just take the mantle and move forward. We want to go backward for whatever reason. But some of them things, and they, or the way they use, we phrase them in the civil service and the government structure, some of these things must change. You know, birth certificates are still being handwritten until the which man can tell. We say, oh no, this would all stop them from the, some 40 years ago when I did not even need to be computerized. So these are some of the things. So as we go through this proposal for amendment constitution, let us begin put the right play and this thing consultation. That's another phrase where it's not practically applicable. And the manner in which we consult things of public interest, first of all, that phrase there, the no one for abandon in consultation with. Because consultation in this sense, in constitutional sense, in governmental sense, it act for implement, and so we have to come up with better language. We need for up with language for make sure, say, we are keeping up with the times. So some of the things that they may want for propose, then we will go into the issues there, most of which, or all of which, Mr. Mengo talked about, as I again bring up. Sierra Leone is much too young constitutionally for to go through 4 constitutions since independence. 4. And we still not grasp the essence of it. Because if we do, this one, the 5th one, we want to try to do so, if at all, we still want to mess them up. Because we know I'm there from the mentality of 1991, when that was being done. So I'm just saying, put aside on our party politics, let's look at what is in the best interest of the nation. And there are many ways we can propose this consultation with Parliament or the government talk, say, then go around and talk. That's why we get elected parliamentarians. And then we need to begin question the usefulness of paramount chiefs in Parliament. I want them there, but I want them to play a substantive role, a useful role. Let not just get paramount chiefs in the Parliament for the fancy of it. It don't make any sense. And we want, if the paramount chief then get for playing a role, they should have such a power as not to be pro government. They should be able to be independent and they should be protected if they take views opposing or opposite the governments. So otherwise, the presence of paramount chiefs in Parliament is just a rubber stamping system, because paramount chiefs cannot disagree with government. Paramount chiefs in Parliament cannot disagree with government, and this goes way back, to the Maga era, where paramount chiefs were banished. Where you take issue with the government and go put in a chiefdom and send you to another place as a form of punishment. We haven't tried to even improve on that practice there in many ways, because for that, what we do, we nationalize the process by just putting paramount chiefs them in Parliament without any useful purpose, because they are supposed to rubber stamp. They are not supposed to take opposing views from the government. So there are many things we have to take into account if we're serious about the country. If we're not serious, if they would just want to go through the motion, we can do whatever we want. But this constitutional issue is a serious issue, and we'll for taken with the utmost seriousness by appointing the right people and for deal with that document there. Like I say, a constitution for be able to withstand the test of time, not for withstand of one government alone. When another government come back to constitutional issues, we come back to commissions of inquiry. We come back, the same, just this repeat. We're not creative enough to move forward. So much so, anyone will hardly disagree with me. I always use the Gambia as an example. Look how far the Gambia has come. A small country, very little resources, but they've done so much better than we have in many respects since independence. Since their independence, since we for the look at that and just see how far behind we are lagging, and try for do if we love the country, we for be a little embarrassed by that and move on, and progressively. So with that said, let me go to you, Mr. Mengot. Let me see. I would like for you to address this issue. These tripartite agreements tend to play a major role in this proposed constitutional review. The only troubling part of it is the tripartite agreement get three parties: APC, then the APC, SFPP, the tripartite people themselves, I think, and the international bodies, or APC, SFPP, and the international bodies. But what happened to the small political parties then? Because we all agree, say this is the first time in a while that we've had not a single parliamentarian from any other political parties except the two big ones. Ask yourselves, is that healthy for the country? Is that the way we want it to be? I've had people give me example of the United States and say, oh, they get the Republicans and the Democrats. So, but the number of parties in a country, I mean, there are many other countries who get boku political parties. I don't know why they even cite the United States. But even for the United States, it's not healthy. Then say will tell you that. But be that as it may, we just need to take a lot of things into account. With that said, let me don't hold Mr. Mengot back. Let's move on to the next stage of broadcasting tonight, which I think will have to do with the playing of the video. I don't know. But back to you, Mr. Mengot.
Well, before we go there, we can ask control room, because one this for participatory, we know say people are not phoning, but I think say one or two people are not make comments them, either on our YouTube or we Facebook page. So if we can read some of them things and they will address that before we go to part 2.
Yeah, I can read one on the thing on the screen. One say, indeed, Mr. Shillon, our politicians are selfish. They don't care for the citizens. This is one that I can see that I've read, that we have selfish politicians. Then the other one said, forget about it. It's over. Sell the country. So I think this person is being sarcastic for saying, yeah, I say, forget about it. It's over. Sell the country, whatever that means. So I don't know if Mr. Mengot, there is any additional one you want me to read, but people should take this constitutional amendment seriously. And please call in or send in more comments.
Okay. Again, before we go to the second part, you mentioned one thing about the Tripartite report. The only thing we get for say again with procedure, that report, where na two political party and one person. When the report was produced, it went to the president. The president looked into them within cabinet, then decide say, you forget steering committee and secretariat. But for the God's sake, why forget legal authenticity and status of that report? Why they not table a white paper in parliament? Because that is a normal thing. Because if they may table that white paper in parliament, even for address two key issues within the Tripartite report. And I go make for I'll get for make people know about that two recommendations where they don't ignore. Recommendation 20, we say, if I go back to that day, recommendation 20 in the Tripartite report, it talk about setting up a parliamentary committee Because na that them if I don't do. If them take that tripartite report, they go parliament. So now I read recommendation 20 back. It said, Parliament for create a dedicated oversight committee comprising representatives from all political parties. Anyway, now two will get as a standing committee on electoral matters. Because 90% of this bill now for deal with electoral matters. And that committee then for review the electoral cycle, inquire into electoral preparedness, guide legislative reform, and he said the committee should be chaired by an MP from an opposition party. Parliament to have an annual debate on the Electoral Commission's report. So that day we see in a day. So why? Because the tripartite report was not tabled properly in Parliament. Then we go to the last one, when I recommendation 80. That recommendation there, what did he say? He said the final report to be tabled in cabinet, and that's the cabinet develops a cabinet paper to guide government. Where is that cabinet paper? To guide the government on implementation, including legislative reform, as required by the parties to call upon development partners. So this is where we don't get it wrong. But all the same, would they use the tripartite report? Because nobody now raised objection. So now play the video. Now we can discuss in detail what in this bill is all about.
If I may ask
So
you a
the
quick
control
question.
room can plan for, will be very happy.
Can I ask you, before the control room player, can I ask you a quick question? Because reading recommendation 20, I heard you say, and then say from all, I think it says all the political parties, but then you say we have two, only have two. So it sounds like that they add, then put which in, and then do what in the recommendation or say, and say all political parties, so for being registered political parties, not parties in Parliament. But I think what they then do, then substitute that for parties in Parliament. And there are more than two registered political parties. Am I right or wrong?
No, but because this is a parliamentary committee, you can only participate in a parliamentary committee if you are an elected member of parliament.
Okay, if it's a parliamentary committee, so well, was it proper? Why they no try to phrase them in such a way as to give a broad-based participation? That's all I'm concerned about. Because they just now run down
then
to
go argue say the broad-based participation, now the steering committee where the president set up, we comprise, again, that steering committee themselves, it not get the other political parties them. The other political parties in our appendage, they are not part of the main steering committee.
all right.
That is the problem.
Okay, I just wanted to raise the issue.
Okay, so now play this video now. Now begin deal with the subject matter. We will take them one by one or two or three at a time. Control room, you can play the video for we.
The guide for we citizens them on the Constitution of Salon Amendment Bill 2025. Wetin this bill dey but? Inside December, the government of Salon hold the Constitutional Amendment Bill of 2025. This bill they look at things them we get for do with election no more. Things like how we dey put and pull president, how we dey pick with Electoral Commission, Political Party Registration Commission or PPRC, political leaders and security forces, and follow the work where then they do. The changes where the bill gets, they will tell you who that can run, who that for win, and the power where ordinary citizens get. This bill not talk nothing but the order but putting them where citizens them want inside the constitution, things like rights and how people and they live with the couple where they get, and all that's in them. Also, then changes here where government want make to the constitution come out. About 85% of them issue and the bill come out from the tripartite agreement after 2023 between APC, SLPP, and international partners, not from with the ordinary citizens. One kind way, but 60% of them issue come out from the Justice Cowan Constitutional Review Committee report, where come out from public voice all about Salon. But some by the other changes by the constitution, not come out from them to process here. Some per the tripartite and CRC opinion then agree per the election matter na the bill, and some not agree. This na the main issue then na the bill where citizens them for no but.
This bill.
All right, Mr. Mengo, you see, then say 85% of the proposed constitution amendment now from the tripartite recommendation. So, and that there are many issues concerning the people we not seem for come from even the tripartite recommendation and the Cowan Commission. So you can elaborate on that for we?
Okay. Now we get the tripartite report where mostly now for deal with elections. The majority. There are some issues them where now administrative issues. Then there are some issues in there where now things for deal with finance. And let me take one recommendation. We're not there in this report. Now recommendation 3, it said the Electoral Commission to cease the use of classifying documents. A new information document management policy should be developed that starts from the principle that all commission documents should be public unless to protect information privacy and commercially sensitive. Right?
Yeah.
That is not something which is in one of the recommendations of this report. You know the importance of that? Of this bill? It comes back to that issue of how you for present results. Disaggregated versus non-disaggregated results. That then have been the major contention where even lead to this tripartite committee. How come there's no section of the bill dealing with that information day? That now one comment I'll get for make. Then there's other things them where they are the same. They say the Electoral Commission to adopt regulations specifying the format of electoral operational plans, including timelines for their adoption, publication in relation to any given electoral event, voter registration of election, public dates for electoral operation plan to be included in the electoral cycle. Also, voter registration, things to do with that. In not doing this bill. But what they go say, in fairness to them, where people have for don't know, after this bill long go through, the two things then get for happen. One, the work not there too, then go get for review and amend the Political Parties Regulation Commission Act and the Electoral Public Elections Act. Because key in that act say, now the issue for deal with PR system. Because this bill say, then taken from the Cowan Report, say Cowan recommend PR system. But when we look at recommendation 78 of the Tripartite Report, and I go read them, because I like for read something, me, I like for quote people them, let them not say, na me make them up. Now that is the main bone of contention. Recommendation 78 say, there should be a national dialogue on the choice of electoral system to be adopted for parliament and local government elections. The district proportional representation system and the first past the first. whichever electoral system is adopted should ensure that a minimum of 30% representation is maintained in all levels, consistent with the Gender Equality and Women's Empowerment Act, the GIWI Act. Then you talk about, in advance of each general election, the Electoral Commission must make regulation that set out the GIWI quota and all that thing. You also talk about issues for deal with. Under the Act, the proposed bill, they don't already say, then justify say, the PR system then they go with. Waiting at the AG in rationale for that. They say because intake waiting Cowan say. They not take waiting the Tripartite report show. Because when it been the present, he say from in consultation, there are some people for, there are people against. But in focus on using waiting Cowan say. But here is the problem. If we don't say we go use PR under the district block system. You left them back to Parliament for bring another bill for tell we waiting at the threshold. Also, you get for tell we the number of seats per district, and then they depend on the population census. And that population census day, the bill tell we say that decimal, which is every 10 years. But the last 10-year bill will get, census will get, now 2015, it don't expire. So whose census data they go use for determine how many seats per district and waiting now the threshold, then left handed to Parliament. So there's a lot of ambiguity. So it means Parliament can bring another bill about the type of proportional representation, the threshold for qualify for get seat, and also how the district representation will be, because already there's another relationship to that where it comes on the presidential election. The presidential election, then still they go that first past the post, not a proportional representation. But it gets some element of proportional representation, Panam. When that 50 plus 1, or simple majority, plus a percentage of votes in the district. So there's a more question than answers. So let's stop there. Let's see what you will get for say about my response.
Well, I mean, I have always questioned this ambiguity or vagueness in some of them laws there wouldn't they propose, because they not adequately address certain issues which lead to confusion. I always also address the fact that when there is ambiguity in the Constitution, the body responsible for really resolving that ambiguity there or that vagueness there, now the courts. I don't see, and I may be wrong, but I don't see much challenges or constitutional challenges being raised on issues of that type here. Because I will notice as we get further down into this proposed amendment, we get into a situation where even the courts then look kind of, they propose some strict rule concerning the courts that we want to raise a challenge for be 3 days from 3 days, which is definitely insufficient, not an adequate amount of time now, and therefore assess your objection and be able to frame a basis for you objecting to whatever the outcome of the election is. So I think say 3 days is just too short. You know, I think they give the courts about 14 days. The court can, I think 40 days with the courts, maybe so, but that again is debatable. But 3 days, I cannot see it puts another party that thinks they've been taken undue advantage of for file any objection to whatever decision has been made in 3 days, when the first 2-3 days may be just pure pandemonium, confusion. But down the line, that issue they will come back up. We will raise the issue of whether 2 or 3 days is sufficient. But as far as the current situation is concerned, I think we get to do better jobs than that. Like Addison say, where do these constitutional changes come from? I get that the proposal and the chalkboard. So again, I just take the holistic approach. We for do what you would try for do so for make them changes and not to for satisfy one political party or one person, or not to forgive advantage to one party over another party, because this has to do no matter how they do it, unless they do it in good faith and in the best of intentions, and the political party will suffer sooner or later, because it is not addressing the issue holistically. It's not addressing the issue of national concern. It's just trying to give one advantage over to one party over another. And we know that the advantage there will not be beneficial to even the one who will end up with them in the beginning. So again, let's look at the proposals then when they come up. Let us be very careful and be very sincere and very accepting or accommodating of the other people in position. Let's debate it. Let's try, even if we make mistake, but let it be done in good faith. But right now, as far as I know, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is like we're taking the same attitude in draft and doing their proposals here as we did with the previous constitution, and particularly this 1991, when I in the govern we right now. Now, so we try for amend them, modify them, but we're not seeing, seems like we come up with anything better. So I'm addressing any issues here in general. I think Mr. Mengot, you probably could address them more specifically, but in general, from a constitutional standpoint, I think we're heading down the wrong road.
Okay, I want to bring something very interesting. You got much pan small. Since the majority of this proposal deal with elections management, it deal with either for be Electoral Commissioner, how you the appointer, and we talk about reference to the Cowan Commission, the Cowan Constitutional Review Committee. It is interesting that this week we see the president don't appoint or recommend for the appointment of Mr. Edmond Alpha as the chairman of the Electoral Commission, ECSL. Although in the bill they say for change down it to NEC, now go back to how we call it, National Electoral Commission. And here is the interesting thing. Now this Tripartite report, there's a recommendation about having a search committee and waiting at the role where the president will play. But I'll go back to the Cowan report, because I like for put the two together, because it look like, say, on the one hand, the same way where the Attorney General pick section of the Cowan report where it talk about proportional representation is saying take Cowan, but it not take some of the things that we can to Electoral Commission. So let's go to paragraph 8.9, appointment of Electoral Commission. Then under section 32.3 of the 1991 Constitution, that say the members of the Electoral Commission shall be appointed by the President after consultation with the leaders of all registered political parties and subject to the approval of Parliament. Now the same thing, 9 days at the Constitution. But it might interest people therefore no say, just like how government, the Parliament, they ask for position paper, I go read under that, Most people, they talk about having a multi-party committee. And here is this thing. At that time, the position paper of the SLPP, and they read a verbatim, then in under paragraph 8.9, it says the position paper of the SLPP suggested that it would be preferable for a multi-party committee to be set up for the specific purpose of appointing the Electoral Commissioner, and that the President, now I repeat, that the President should not be part of the appointment process. That was the position of the SLPP party at the time.
When they were in the opposition.
When they were in the opposition. Then, the Campaign for National Unity, in their own position paper, say emphasis should be placed on the independence of the National Electoral Commission. So you see, people have been there where they talk about the same thing. Then they also talk about a member of the Electoral Commission may be removed from office by the President for inability to discharge the function of it without arising. Under Cowan, people, let me say, the President of again no hands in removing the Electoral Commissioner and in appointment. So how come that way people, let me say, they want to forget this multi-party and the President, they not take that part in account, but Cowan himself ignore some of them concerns and they and go back to the status quo. Say the members of the Electoral Commission shall be appointed by the President after consultation with leaders of all registered political parties and subject to the approval of Parliament. So you can see, even as far back as 2015, there were concern about the role where the President they play in appointing the Commissioner. The same thing that occur back, even though this bill and the talk about search committee. And let me make a complaint to people. Let's say we follow this one. Because whoever the President recommend, you're not bound for take even the, because now you don't give them the political parties from the letter. I think 3 days for response.
Yeah.
And it's not bound by any recommendation they make. Ingo still ask Parliament for approve the Electoral Commissioner. And how they approve them? If they go through the Public Appointments Committee, which is chaired by a member of your own party, and then get majority members. So if they vote at committee level, it obviously means they will go by the President's wishes. Then when you go to the well of Parliament, the majority votes. So it is a fair or complete. Where French man say fair or complete, that means say nothing will already happen.
It's all over.
It's all over. So now, why at this time, when you get a recommendation, now the bill, they not take that procedure there. They still hurry and go back to the existing system, which is not illegal. So it shows the insincerity in honoring some of these things in the bill already. So I don't know what you take on that.
I mean, there is just so much. I don't. You see, my own confusion is for try for even address this constitutional issue. The way we made it see them. Because it no matter what you say on this show, it would be nice if we can get other parties them for call from the outside, let us see whether they get any contribution for make. But it appears as if the issue itself, and then we try to forget people them, for example, if we try to call the AG to come on the show, he may not accept our invitation. So we are here second guessing, and instead of having those in the position of authority for comment, if we elaborate on the entire for make sure say we come up with a good, strong document where we for treat with all seriousness. That's my frustration about the whole thing, So now, because what are we going to do? For example, here we are. We talk about the chairman of the legislative committee, clears the air on parliamentary rules and procedures for review, scrutiny, amendment of the bill. Okay, but Mr. Mengo, please correct me if I'm wrong, but the chairman of the legislative committee, has he cleared the air for with respect to the parliamentary rules and procedure for the review? Has he?
Well, he has outlined the stages. In Ontario, we now see, if we go back to in public announcement, we don't already get the first reading. And normally when you get the first reading of a bill in Parliament, at the end of that first reading, Parliament for set a date for the second reading.
Which they haven't done.
But I don't see any side where they don't set a date for the second reading. And after the second reading, you get the committee stage when the chairman, now you own time down there. Even when they tell people there for send position paper, therefore make it clear say then position paper there, according to parliamentary procedures, should be sent to the legislative committee, because each committee get the clerk. Therefore, sending a parliament for the attention of the legislative committee. So it's not clear, and they tell people and say, send position paper, send position paper. But they don't give details. Waiting at the format of them position paper then they. And how you go send them, and then get for acknowledge receipt of the position paper then they. Knowing the system we again at Salon, you can send the position paper lost in traffic. And also, the AGB non tell we say, you go get a website for put all length in and day. They will not see the AG website too. You check for the parliamentary website itself. It's going on and off. So how do you convince people that this open door policy of wanting to hear from everybody, it will be transparent, it will also be done with due diligence and due process, and Parliament, because remember saying that 16 members no more than the legislative committee. Out of 149, now only 16 members they go deal with that issue then they. Do they have the technical support? I worked as a specialist for a committee in the UK Parliament. You have to ask the legislative committee, yes, they should have Parliament get a legal team, then get lawyers then. Will those lawyers be part of the team where they scrutinize everything? So before I go further, there's somebody we don't send a note. If you can read out for me, then it will be very useful.
All right. The Tripartite Report is subject to amendments during the implementation process. Remember, it's a recommendation. The government can tweak it for what it is or for the benefit of Sierra Leoneans. You know, remember, it is a recommendation. The government can tweak it for the benefit of Sierra Leone people. I don't want to put some interpretation on the comments, but I take it to mean it is just a recommendation, but it's a recommendation that is being very heavily considered, almost to the point of dictation. You know, am I right, Mr. Nengot?
Yeah, because there are some of the recommendations in the Tripartite report, right, which are in this bill without modification.
Exactly.
There are others which are in the bill with modification. There's another comment.
Yeah, the discourse on this constitutional review is not being championed by constitutional experts. Those who take up this narrative are not qualified nor have the expertise. Let me read it again. The discourse, which means the discussion on this constitutional review, is not being championed by constitutional experts. Those who take up this narrative are not qualified nor have the expertise. So what say you, Mr. Because I assume when you say those who take up the narrative, I will assume that the one that were in a position of responsibility, like the Attorney General and others who are in a position like parliamentarians, you know, I'm sure those are the ones he's referring to, those who take up the narrative, not people like us just commenting on it and bringing it to the attention of others. Am I right?
Well, I will look at it two ways.
Okay.
One, for the purpose of due diligence and transparency, as I mentioned, the Attorney General should actually have revealed to us who and who contributed to the drafting of the bill. Why I say this, let's go back to what happened. Under the Cowan Union, there were 80 participants. There's a list of all the people that will contribute to that review day. It is transparent. But this one, now the AG no more, now in Kawita, you not tell we Uda and Uda contribute to this whole process before they go even to the drafting of the bill. For God's sake, we get a bar association. They were involved with the Cowan. What's their take on this one? Now even the bar association is split. We get the lawyer society. Because lawyers are there to provide guidance. But when it comes to constitution, not a lawyer no more. You get other people then. Like for me, I am not a lawyer, but I'm well aware and get experience in issues to do with parliamentary rules and procedures. In some other countries, including our own very country, I have contributed to the drafting of some bills. One in particular. So you need a broad church. You need constitutional experts. You need governance experts. You need lawyers, especially where part of the bill deal with things to do with jurisprudence. issues to deal with, how they deal with petitions in parliament. Not parliament, sorry. How they deal with objections to results in the judiciary. Now, in a key issue, the time where it takes for you put together any objection. All these issues. So we need a collection of experts for put this thing together. And when it comes to discussion, everybody is entitled to contribute. Because the very constitution what they try to amend, the entire constitution was approved through a referendum. People were presented with the government proposal and they voted for 4 days continuously. And at that time, it was not done in piecemeal. Why now would they chop and change? Because this is not the end process. When this bill is approved, certain clauses and they like the one they will deal with entrenched clause, they have to be removed because the Attorney General tell we say the certificate where they go to the President for approval, they'll get for pull that section there. So would you leave that idle, just waiting by, and then you get for draft another bill, wait for deal with all the other entrenched clauses them, and incorporate new things them, where Cowan recommend. So this is the dilemma. If an election one focus on, and a daily problem there, why not concentrate on reviewing the Political Parties Regulation Act and the Public Elections Act? Now the two that they will deal with elections, because now all this constitution, not just elections, no more deal with. There is nothing else. Will they get challenged now about issues about consultation? Will they get challenged about issues of freedom of speech? Will they get challenged about freedom of association? Will get issue where you are old public gathering, you get for go to the police? They also recommend that say the police, you get for review the Police Act of 1965. So there are so many other things which need to be done before we can get this constitution. And we not get enough time for finish this first bill and draft another bill for going to referendum and also amend other acts then and other new acts then. They talk about the Youth Act as well. So this is an exercise in futility, in my own opinion. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, in addition to that, we get other issues then like the gender inclusion. Let me read this comment that just came in. Salon lacking structures and competent institutions without any bias. It's only in Sierra Leone where public officials are scared of interview by various media. Again, let me just read it. I get a better take on it. Sierra Leone lacks or is lacking structures and competent institutions. Okay, say without any bias, but let me just say, and competent institutions. It's only in Sierra Leone where public officials are scared to be interviewed on various news media. Yeah, so yeah, I think that may be so because these things are being proposed. I've seen the AG now shows like, is it AYV? But I'm not so sure of the depth to which the structural changes there are being raised. Do you remember, Mr. Mengot, what it was with the thing with Alpha Khan, where they talk about some kind of checklist in question? Was it in reference to this same proposal? What did they talk about?
Well, I mean, Alpha Khan was one of the people that when a presidential spokesman or whatever, we've been try for actually sell the idea of power sharing at the executive level.
Yeah.
And I choose some of their interview today. He talk about ticklisting questions and all the rest of it. But let's state our own position clear as viewers. In the bill, there is a proposal for diaspora participation. Diaspora voting. He did it. They talk about amending the eligibility for standards MP. So, we own audience in as much as we get radio station as Salone. But look at where we're coming from. You, Mr. Sheila, you're in the US. You get a lot of people in the US where they come on this show because they know say you're one of them. I'm in the UK. Similarly, a lot of people and they where they come because they know say how they come from the UK. We produce her and we broadcast this program from Canada. We get a lot of people also from Canada. So we for throw a challenge to these people. And for the record, we have reached out to people from one side. But last week we get Tijansi. He's a member of the Bar Association in Sierra Leone. He's also a grandee in the SLPP party. He can't forgive your opinion. We don't extend similar invitation to the other key people, like the leader of parliament. When I mean leader, the opposition, leader of the opposition in parliament, we don't contact them. We don't contact some flag bearer aspirant as well. The door is still open. Let them come to us. Let's discuss this together. Because we also get rights. Because put it this way. Both political parties then depend on people from the diaspora for fund the activities then. Would they see all of them, they come to England, then they come to America, then they get fundraising dance. Check how many fundraising events they get at the diaspora compared to what they get at home. So if you remember, the principle of America we did, no taxation without representation. And from the state, it come out. So if we pay tax indirectly, we are also the social safety net. How come these people, they consider we for discuss the issue? Some of we get experience in working in local government, in working in the courts like you, Mr. Shillon, and even me, 50 years this year in my transport profession, parliamentary experience in the UK, in other parts of Africa. We have something to give back. Now that makes us some of we they come for do them program here. Will they take with time? That makes sure they do the program with factual evidence. So that's all I want to say at the time now. Unless if we want to go back on the video and continue the assessment. I don't know what you get for say, sir.
Okay. I think we should, but I just want for comment because on today's proposed discussion, I think we were going to talk about I think, again, you can clarify that these recommendation 72, which had to do with controlling the conduct of political parties, is that that's under this amendment, isn't it? A proposed amendment, is it? And if so, we had indicated some we had a discussion, but I don't know how it could fit with which you would not propose, say, how one go line by line. We'll be getting a discussion about...
Yeah, I think we can proceed with the video and look at what's in the next.
Okay, all right. We can do that. Let's do that. Control room, please. Just...
matter na the bill and some no agree. This na the main issue then na the bill where citizens them for no but.
This bill may allow independent presidential candidates for run for the first time. This means say candidate no need for belong to any political party for run for president. This they give voters more choice past the two big political parties them. But the bill they say the independent candidate for sure say he gets enough money and community support, but it not clear waiting the word mean. Because it not clear, people go abuse them, and that go mean say only people will get money and connection for be leader. This bill is suspend criminal court case for posting them when they run for president 1 year before the election. This can protect opposition leader man them from case where they get for political reason. But at the same time, it will give politicians the special protection where we the citizens not get. This can go against the law and it cost justice for delay where people get case. This bill they reduce the number where one candidate need for win presidency. Instead of 55%, now a simple majority plus 20% of the valid vote na 2/3 of the district them. This they make them easy for win election without strong national support. It can save money and avoid runoff, but it go give leader we not get majority of the country in support. This bill will reduce the time for challenge first round presidential elections results na Supreme Court from 7 days to 3 days. But for runoff elections results, anybody still gets 7 days for challenge them after they declare them. The Supreme Court set for rule by the election petition them within 14 days. This bill talks say president or a vice in comot one in party not enough for pull and comot na office. Parliament
don't come up. Now, Mr. Chilo.
Yes, sir.
3 issues company video will show. A new thing. Now, the issue of an independent presidential candidate. Because the current constitution say, for let you be a candidate for president, you get to be a member of a political party. And also, you have to be eligible for stand as MP. So then they talk about independent people then, where you say you get for... So say you get the financial and community support. How do you measure those things? The next thing we then get concerned about, now this issue about if anybody wants to stand election, we get criminal case, they make you flag bearer, therefore suspend that case until after the election. So what do you think about them two things here?
Well, I think it all depends on how they frame the conditions, it seems to me. For example, this issue of independent candidacy, I'm all in favor of it, in many sense, in the sense that it is just because you may want to run for the presidency and not share ideologically or politically the views of the two main parties, them, and probably just want, or maybe you not even support any kind of party symbol. So if you are independent, because we don't talk about independence, because we just get this symbol, party symbol system, a we own system. So I don't know whether when you're not independent, how they intend to propose that, whether you can just run on a name basis, that's your name, or are you going to be required
now, hold on, sir. Let's read exactly what's in the bill.
Okay.
So you can comment on that. This is now section 7 of the bill. It says, that therefore deal with section 42 of the Constitution of Sierra Leone. The amendment is say in subsection 1 by repeal the replacement. Now they say 1, a presidential candidate shall either be nominated by a political party or be an independent candidate, provided that a person shall contest as an independent, he is not a member of a political party and has demonstrated sufficient financial capacity and community support as prescribed by law. see?
All right.
So outside the law, they, make that reference there.
Yeah.
He is not, if say he should not be a member of a political party and has demonstrated sufficient financial capacity and community support as prescribed by law. Okay, that financial capacity there, if you go back to the Political Parties Regulation Act, it go be say, now PPRC get for set that criteria there. So waiting at the measurement. Then next, how do you measure community support? Very ambiguous. This is what the bill say. Now that I read now.
Well, again, how do you measure sufficient financial ability? Then yet for either specify a reasonable amount that they think, say, we're not going to be restrictive or oppressive for anyone or a party who want to run for the presidency, but anyone who want to run for the presidency, then get for specify an amount that could withstand constitutional challenge in terms of reasonableness. So if they say, if you for demonstrate that you are worthy of coming up with, like, say, $2 million, that may be considered oppressive, restrictive. But then I think if they come up with a reasonable amount, where they think, say, from all reasonable standpoints, someone who wants to run for the presidency, whether by solicitation or actual wealth, you may be able to come up with $500,000 and $1 million on a national basis to be able for carry out. Then get for establish a minimum amount which it would take for carry out a national campaign for the presidency, not maximum. So it's not going to be based on wealth, but if they can able to determine by the person's ability, the effort they make for raise campaign contribution for an hour, I think that would be based on. I think that the detail of what you then say, then go determine whether it's constitutional or not. And so it looked like to me. But this thing about if the person doesn't demonstrate that he or she has the means or the financial means, I don't know how you demonstrate that unless then specify, say, you get for come up with a certain amount, by whatever means, campaign contribution, personal wealth. And even personal wealth, I think then for qualifying for, say, your own wealth, you can lend your party or your candidacy X amount of money instead of just inject your own personal wealth there, because it will give undue advantage to one particular person over another, So I think it will be waiting the campaign some budgetary amount where the campaign can come up with. So if you're a rich man, instead of taking your wealth as a basis for qualification to run, I think it would be better if you can lend your campaign X amount of money for meet the threshold of what the parliament set as what it takes to run a national campaign for the presidency. So I think it's all a matter of how they frame it, because there is so much more. The act as you just read, and so I think not going to withstand constitutional challenge. But I mean, I said the act, the proposed bill. But I think they can do more. They can do more in terms of description, where for be able for tell you what you could do for meet that threshold. But I think it's a matter of just adding more meat to the bone. They'll put it out with it. So I'm all in favor.
Are we having a call? Because there's something else I want to go on this issue.
Okay, then one quick thing on criminal matter. This thing, I don't think it's that unfair that if one qualifies to run for the presidency, because you have to meet the threshold of qualification. Once you've reached the qualification and you've been certified, I think it's reasonable for you not to be put through process of criminal trial within a period of maybe a year or 6 months, whatever people and things say, I think it's fair. You cannot base that on the issue of fairness as far as saying, well, because poor people, it disadvantage the poor. I don't think that class business down there. I think it's just a matter of, it just makes more sense. Because otherwise, then go eliminate a good candidate, whether I get money or not, by just hitting out with a criminal offense, even if it's frivolous, within a year. So it go disqualify for run for the presidency.
No.
So
I don't think it's talking about a criminal offense. What it is say,
defense.
from our understanding, if you get a criminal court case, which is ongoing, right?
Okay.
And then it's also not clarified. Because if you get, let's say you are in court for murder or capital punishment, it's trying to say, if, like, say, they don't make you a flag bearer, that case should be suspended till after the election. That is the issue.
Within a certain period before the election, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, then we propose like a year or so.
Yes, about a year.
Okay, so about a year, they should schedule a trial. Even if you have an ongoing charge or a pending charge for a criminal matter, but that case they should be disposed of before a year.
No, not this. It should be put on hold. Then not for continue.
No, I was saying either it should have been disposed of, or should be put on hold if it will fall within the time range of a year to the election. That sounds reasonable to me. That seems reasonable to me. You know, but also that's a matter of framing it, because the best case in point is the Kamara case, not so. Before the 2023 election, they come up with this thing about some criminal issue concerning building in New York and all of that. And when the election was so close, diverting the man's attention, diverting his resources, doing so much for impede ability for campaign widely. Yeah, I think that makes sense. That to me is fair. It's a matter of how to go frame it.
Okay, let's go back to that independent. I want to throw some light of the position of the independent candidate. Before, after that, we'll take our last points. We will talk about this qualification for president. Now, because if we go back, it talk say, if you want standard independent, two things now come to mind. You are not a member of a political party. I'll give you an example. Both parties have people who are aspiring flag bearer. Let's say, for instance, somebody go contest as a flag bearer. He lost the election, right? What this does, it allows that person, if that person resigned from a party, right, which means he's no longer a member of party, it can stand as an independent candidate. But what it doesn't do here, it doesn't show how long, if you not be a member of a political party, waiting at a time frame from becoming a non-member of that political party to become an independent. So that could be abused. Secondly, when you come to equity, let's take political party. They say political parties now, under the PPRC regulation, political party then get forget offices then are all over the region, right? For be able to contest. Also, not all over the region as well. Then for able make sure say they fulfill certain criteria in terms of overall representation. So, should the independent candidate also be asked to have offices in all the regions for the time in terms of equity, just like the political party, because he's also contesting against a political party candidate. What do you think about that?
Well, good question. Yeah, in fact, I don't think they consider that. My answer to that would be no, in both instances. I think this thing about having offices, because there are certain things the reality of the grounds will take care of. If you want to contest presidentially, say you get forget national support. I think common sense dictates that you are not going to be able to win if you not get a widespread support around the country for become the president. So I don't think we need to begin put law where for say you forget offices. So if you decide, because one of the reasons is because in today's world, you don't necessarily have to, you just need creativity. What if you don't have offices, but you decide for do your campaign?
But that applies to a political party where they submit candidates. They contest against an independent presidential candidate.
Yeah,
I'm talking about the law of equity.
Yeah, but I think the rule itself is unnecessary, because I don't think political parties then need to have offices in every district, in every precinct. I don't think so. I think because the reality on the ground would dictate that. Because if you don't get, I make up one example. What if you not get offices? I'm questioning the reasonableness of the requirement. What if you not get offices, but you get you've developed an electronic system whereby you can campaign from afar and still without offices in certain location and still be able to convince more people? We cannot lose sight of modernization today. Because I don't think that law they will take into account. And I think if they say that, one can challenge them in a court. It should not be a requirement for you to have offices, because they already require a minimum amount of money to be able to conduct a presidential campaign. The manner in which you go about doing it, I think should be up to the party or up to the individual. I don't think they try to regulate every move in that sense. Because what harm does it do if you don't get offices now every district? I mean, how does
it? Well, that's the current requirement for political party for qualify for contest an election. Well, that is not even touched in this bill. Now make sure I bring them up.
Yeah. You see, and that requirement there, I don't think is reasonable. I think this is what I keep saying. Certain issues should be challenged, because if they're not challenged in a court, it's going to go through, it becomes the law. Because I don't see Parliament doing anything.
Because remember, that was what affected the Unity Party, Femi Claudius Cole.
And of course, she disputed that, because she also claimed, if I remember what Femi Claudius Cole said, he said it was just...
Yeah, she disputed that, but the appeal will make them, then throw away the appeal, then you go court, then the court not determine the case. Anyway, let's go to the final one, because let's go to the final one before we close now. Now this is another contentious one. It is under the bill, section 7, subparagraph E, which say a person shall not be declared elected as president of Sierra Leone unless the presidential elections he obtains a simple majority of the total valid votes cast throughout Sierra Leone and a minimum of 20% of the total valid votes cast in at least 2/3 of the districts of Sierra Leone. Law addressed down there as the last one this time.
Yeah. Well, you know what my position is on that. I don't think it is. I question this 20% of 2/3 of this 2/3 requirement. I don't think because I give the example. Because then the claim say the reason behind that, these 2/3 from every district, I think about 20% from 11 districts, correct? at least 20% from, you have to have about 20% from 11 districts. Is that what?
Yeah, okay, let's make it clear now. The number of districts, you get 14 districts.
Did you say 16?
Plus,
No, 14?
we'll talk about electoral district now, as distinct from administrative districts.
Okay.
You get 14 electoral districts, plus 2 other one, when a western rural, western urban. Then a 16. But then there's also a proposal on the ground for create 2. That's Panguma and Badajuma. We're going to make a 18. So if you take that into consideration, if you be 18, you're talking about 12 districts. So the interesting thing, it means for qualify for win the presidential votes, not 2 systems than they use. You get this 50, what they call simple majority of total valid vote cast, waiting at that simple majority there. Right? That relates to the existing system of first past the post. Then it also includes a PR element of that, which is a 20% of valid vote cast in at least 2/3 of the districts of Sierra Leone. We are moving from a current system where forget elected in the first round, you only need 55% of the total vote cast all throughout the country. There is no element of proportional representation there. It's only first past the post. So why complicate the issue? So what are your thoughts about that? First, well, the definition of simple majority, and then you don't talk about that other one at the 20%, now the 2/3 of the districts of Sierra Leone.
Yeah, the 20% we go amount to the 2/3 we go amount to 12 districts. I mean, it not only complicates the system, it's not necessary. Because I've been given this example. If in a presidential election, they say you get a large vote from a certain area of the country or from 2 areas of the country, we now constitute half the number of districts, but get large amount of votes. Let me see. According to the chairman of the Legislative Committee, only 3 position papers have been tendered so far. So that would be something for you to deal with. According to the Legislative Committee, only 3 position papers have been tendered so far. So just hold that. Let me just deal with this issue of these 2/3 and this simple majority. I think we are complicating matters unnecessarily. First of all, I don't see the sense in requiring that you must have 20%. I mean, you must have 20% from 2/3 of the number of districts, when 18 districts, or could be 12 districts, that you forget 20% in at least 12 districts. What is the sense behind that? Suppose you are the candidate with just from 1 or 2 districts, for 1 or 2 areas of the province, let's say the western area and the north, or the western area and the south, regardless who the candidate is. Suppose that alone has put you close to 50%. Then you get the east or the north that adds to your number. It puts you over and make you give you a majority vote. Why are they going to require that you have to have 20% of 2/3 of those number of districts or remaining number of districts? They say because for make you be a broad-based, but you don't have to necessarily win. Now then place then they to be able to be a national candidate or to be able to win the national election. This is what I'm confused about. Why are they requiring this 20%, this 2/3, of 20% of the districts? I mean, is it necessary to have that? Is it that unduly restrictive? Why have the 20%?
Okay, let me throw something out again.
Yeah.
Let's say if we look at the population of the 2 electoral districts in the western region, between Western rural and Western urban, you're talking about nearly 2 million people. Right?
Yep.
But remember saying that only 2 districts. So.
Yeah.
Then say you go to the south or the east where they say Kenema don't heavily populated. Let's say you get overwhelming majority na the east. Because the east that 3 no more you get. You get Kenema, Kailaung, and Kono.
Yeah.
Right? Where if you combine
Yeah.
the east and the west, it go almost equivalent to half of the population.
Exactly.
What if you get the majority in then 2 the regions, eh? Then you don't get nothing at the other side. You don't get up to that 20% to the other side. Is that a fair representation? Then also,
I think
the district them, in terms of voters, they don't get the same amount of registered voters. So me think say that particular section they should be thrown out.
I
Because
think
of
so.
some of these things we don't point out.
Yeah, it's not necessary because it deprives a person who still has the majority of potential or registered voters, because then all the requirement and the number, I can see if they cut down the number of districts to like maybe 1/3. That might go towards, but 2/3, 12 out of 18, I think that's too much. Maybe 6, if they say 5 or 6, plus your simple majority, I think that goes very close towards being fair and reasonable. But 18 districts, or I think that's just too much. I think it's just unreal, because now you don't win this large number, you don't get more than 51% of the vote cast in the country totally, but now you're being held from becoming the president because you don't win sufficient number of districts, 20% and sufficient number of districts. I think that's unfair. But this is what the courts are for. If you see some degree of unfairness there, that it could deprive people and debate them, if not, then whoever stands when you lose, this is where the courts play a major, major role. If they stay out of politics, then we'll come up with a good law and fair law for we. Because then politicians say, they come up with them proposal here. Then they look at their own self-interest. They are not as objective as we may want them to be, but that's why we have the courts. Unfortunately, sometimes the courts tend to back the party in power. That make I also question, what is the use of parliament chiefs in parliament if they have to go along with what the government suggests? They don't have independent mind. Do they need more protection for giving what it takes to be objective so do they need a special subcommittee or house of chiefs? I don't know, but I think we strive towards getting a more open, objective, fair kind of system. This is all I'm saying. But the way it is now,
at this stage, it give me an opportunity for respond to the last positive way we make that statement. We say the chairman of the legislative committee saying only 3 petitions in don't receive.
Yeah.
I don't call them petition. 3 position paper. Now I don't receive. It come back to what they say. The citizens have not been given clear instructions as to the position paper, waiting at the context, style and content and format, and usai for send and go. Now again, when we talk about this thing, one thing I want to clarify here, this bill, there cannot be any judicial challenge now because until it becomes law, it cannot be challenged. So the only way we can do now for convince as many people like what they do now, for explain to them, waiting at the challenges them, and also let the parliamentary committee or the legislative committee through the Ministry of Information and Civic Education come tell people them plainly, because you don't start the first point where you don't talk about the parliamentary process, But let them give people guidance as to the parliamentary system for submit a position paper, the format and issues to do with how these papers will be dealt with, requiring both evaluation of position paper and also calling people for can give oral evidence. And by the look of it, from my own experience in the legislative process in the UK, where I don't deal within a committee, it will take more than at least 4 to 6 weeks for the legislative committee for handle all them position paper there. And they need experts for guide them in the interpretation, because the members of parliament, unlike with parliament where I don't work now, they not get researchers them, they not get experts for guide them, and I don't think say the political parties themselves get technical support for the MPs them for deal with this issue. Bearing in mind that up to 38 MPs them out of the 149 na new MPs them. So that I get for say, and at this moment we will continue with going through more aspects of their recommendation here, and hopefully we don't throw invitation to other people there. We hope say we will get somebody next week. We will join for can throw some light on this bill, but we will continue for do the assessment. Over to you, sir.
Well, that will be all, ladies and gentlemen, for today. I know this is a very complicated issue. This whole idea about this constitution and the proposed amendment, people don't know. It may be confusing to a lot of people. With the try our best try for bring the experts them for can't talk about that. We'll be bringing Mr. Banja to Jansi last week. We'll also be the try for get one of the party lawyers them for come this week for can't talk to we. But we have not been successful at that. We're going to keep trying to bring some of them. It would be great. Maybe we could try to get the Attorney General for calm, for we'll raise some of the issues here with him. Of course, by now, them for don't know, say when we invite them, now for really, sincerely, for come and explain to the audience certain things we're concerned about, and looking at it not from the standpoint of what's good for the country, not necessarily for subject them to any criticism or embarrassment. So I always fail for see why, because now we get a reputation of not trying to do that. So I always wonder, since we're in a public service, we think say with the offer, why we're not to get positive responses as we would like from the officials them, for come and try for help clarify and propose certain things. Explain certain things of some of the proposals that they put forward. So we strongly encourage government officials them for please come. We encourage civil rights, people's rights activists them in the country, like people like I think Edmond Abu, and we try to forget people from the legal profession, from the various organizations then we deal with the law. Let them come, tell we, watching at any objection, we see one or two groups to show some interest and just to put position papers. And also, this is the reason why we feel say the legal profession for go back to the usual. I mean, you can't put the genie in the bottle anymore. Now we get a legal society, which I think is healthy for the profession. But I think the Bar Association should go back to the old practice of being neutral, of being non-aligned, of following the old tradition of taking positions that are in the best interest of the country, not to wait in the support. Because at the end of the day, it hurts the country. It doesn't do any good. 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or maybe 50 people will benefit financially for a short while. Because mostly the history teaches us all the politicians, and despite all whatever they put their handpan, when they are dead, that's it. And not to benefit them family. The bad laws they would make, it work against them. So I don't know what you would take for let me begin to understand that. If you are sent to parliament, you go there for national reasons, for national interest. In the process, if you're fortunate, you become rich by working hard and not doing anything with and we refer to as corrupt. God bless you. But that should not be the motivation. And after that, not necessarily you're good enough to begin compromise and sell issues that you know will hurt your country and your people. So we strongly encourage people. With that said, I want to thank you all who listen today, and to please pay attention to this proposed amendments to the Constitution, the 1991 Constitution, when I in the government we now. And I hope say on I go find little time for dodge down some objections or some questions when I will raise next time we'll come. Because we plan for talk about that again. We'll get many other issues under that broad topic there of proposed amendments to the 1991 Constitution. With that, let me say good night. We'll pass it over to my colleague for say good night as well.
Well, family them. We'll tell you thank you. We'll not get much for say again. For go for 2 hours, not so easy thing. We appreciate all in our comments them. And we hope say in I will send more. And also they encourage you for phoning. But every good thing must come to an end. And we will continue. And next week, hopefully, we will get somebody we will can throw some light, even from the other parties themselves, apart from the 2 big giants them. And we'll continue for explain this position to you now. If anybody wants for we'll give them some guidance as to how they for put their position paper, ask question for clarification, feel free. As just say we get next week we go put we email address, we website. We'll go on clear with the interact with the public outside with regular broadcast. Because if you not the same information, we can able guiding her through this thing. With that, I say tata, have a blessed week and a productive week until we meet next week again. Thank you very much.